Welcome to the Echo Tips podcast.
Here's a sneak peek into what we're going to cover in this week's episode of the Echo Tips podcast.
Capabilities through a free preview on Echo devices that they already own, including the first Echo we shipped back in 2014.
Well, hello, and welcome to the Echo Tips podcast. It's good to have our returning listeners here today, new listeners as well. And here in a moment, I'll give you new listeners a little synopsis for what this podcast is all about. But first, at a high level, I'd like to talk about what our subject is going to be, or subjects, I guess, for this week's podcast. We're going to first focus in on a real quick demonstration, again, to remind those who maybe have missed it in a past episode about how to get enrolled for when the A-Lady AI beta rolls out, or I should say the preview, the free preview rolls out, or just to be informed about that, how you do that. So we're going to mention that as well. And you maybe wonder, what's that phrase he just used? Free preview. Where did that come from? We're going to talk about that too as well. We're also going to talk about some rumors and different things that are out in the press from Reuters, CNET, The Verge, supposedly off the record interviews with Amazon employees saying, guess what? That Alexa AI is rolling out this fall. Oh, by the way, I said her name. I'm sorry, guys. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about that and just how bad some of the tech press reporting is these days. It's so messed up. Anyway, and we'll be talking a little bit about that and just do a high-level review of all the cool things we have talked about with the AI all the way back to like October, I think, and December. We had the beta of last year. I mean, we were playing with and some different things. And of course, like I said, I'm going to rake the tech press and other press outlets over the coals because it drives me nuts. Anyway, so you new listeners, what is this show? Well, welcome to the Echo Tips podcast. I'm the host, David Ward. I'm an assistive technology instructor with the New Vision program at Goodwill, and we're based here in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Now, you'll find that this show is nuggetized little episodes. We used to shoot for 5 to 15 minutes, but honestly, it's more probably like 15 to 25 under most cases. And sometimes we have these big omnibus episodes where we want to wedge all the content together about maybe a particular feature like alarms. And we wedge it all together so that there's almost like it's a thesaurus, it's like a Bible of sorts of a particular topic. So it's all in there, and those are longer format, but it'll say omnibus on those. But generally we keep it, like I said, 15 minutes, 25 minutes at any given go. Now, sometimes when new stuff's rolling out, new equipment, and it gets kind of exciting, we do run a little long too. But first off, before we delve into our content in any sort of depth, which I'm prone to just start going into now, we're going to go to a brief message about our podcast, and then we'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and also made possible in part by a grant from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a non-profit organization serving Central, Southwest, and Southside Virginia. Goodwill's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and inspire communities. And we thank you for listening. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision.
Well, hello again, and welcome back to the podcast. It's amazing to have you guys with us, and if I haven't mentioned it lately, over 132,000 listens to the podcast, and that's just amazing. We really appreciate your listenership, and I would love to hear feedback and info. Do you appreciate the show? Are there things you'd like to change? Do you like the omnibus episodes? Don't like it? I'd love to hear your feedback, an email or on Facebook or Twitter, and we'll mention some ways you can do that at the end of the show. If you don't mind, I got this little cough that keeps coming back, and I don't know if it's allergies or I had a cold a few weeks ago, so I apologize if you do hear that, but I'm okay. It just comes and goes in the weirdest ways. Now, first off, a little housekeeping I want to mention, and you hear this, I don't ever really hardly discuss this except for it's in the little musical jingles that tells you about our show. But we have received a gracious grant and continued support from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired to carry out another 12-month episodes season starting in September all the way through August of next year. So we're really looking forward to continuing to do that. And they are continuing to sponsor us with last year's grant up through this August. So we just applied and were awarded a new grant. So we're terribly excited and appreciative about that. And maybe at some point I'll reach out to y'all who are listening for just your feedback and maybe cards or different things so we can let the board know how much you appreciate this show. And so that was just a little bit of housekeeping I wanted to mention. All right, so let's delve right in now. Well, where should I go first? Well, I want to give you guys some practical things. So first off, I'll do a little quick demo. If you do have an A-lady in hearing distance of my voice, you may want to shut her ears off. So I'll give you all a second to do that. What are we going to be demoing here? What we're demoing is how to get enrolled for the new AI free preview that may be rolling out this fall, or who knows, may come early, it may come in the summer, who knows, but so that you're ready to go, or if they're doing different types of beta testing, which I have been in all the way back since December. I had to look up the episode, December 20th. I used the same technique, and then I came back one day and asked her something. She said, well, would you like to try out the A-Lady beta? And I did. And we had a number of episodes about that, so I'll gloss over some of those as well. But first, for y'all, and like I said, around the world, we have a lot of international listeners. Maybe it hasn't extended outside the States yet, but it very well might before the free preview or the kind of more final baked product rolls out. But either way, I think this is going to probably be the best way to stay informed about how these features are rolling out, whether it's in beta or Gen 1.0 free preview. And like I said, I'll mention what free preview means here in a second. So here is the phrase you would say, Alexa, let's chat.
Thanks for your interest. Would you like to be notified when this feature is available?
Yes.
Noted. We'll let you know when it's ready.
All right, so that was super easy, right? No hard part about that. And so that is the simple way, that you can be informed and updated about that. Okay, so let's go back to recent news in the last 7 days from Reuters, CNET, The Verge. Other outlets have talked about, oh my goodness, you may have to pay for Alexa this coming fall, a new AI infused A-Lady. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. So Reuters, I think it might even been in the title of their article, is about a two-tiered system. So like an A-Lady, and I had to think about that as I read through it several times, but the free, there'd be a free tier and then the paid, smarter A-Lady. Now, according to some of their inside sources, people quoted off the record, it may be called the Remarkable Alexa. Yes, the Remarkable Alexa, so it's all about branding, right? And that may be the AI beta, the one that we've kind of been playing with ever since December 20th, episode 200 and, where did I do that? 278. So all the way back in episode 278, I covered that. Now, we've covered all sorts of things connected with that beta, hallucinating in 279. And 284, we talked about paying for Alexa, and that's kind of connected with this Reuters article as well and the other subsequent articles. By the way, if you want to find out more about this, I'd recommend go looking up the Reuters article. They actually did something called reporting. where they actually interviewed people. Pretty much all the other guys I read just quoted the Reuters. They just like what the Reuters said. Like, now, admittedly, The Verge brought a little bit of responsibility to it because they kind of took what the Reuters said, and then they took other things from other announcements about AI being used at Amazon and different other services for shopping and Rufus and all these other AIs, and they kind of created this nice montage of what could be possible. But most of them just quoted the Reuters, so it's like nobody else bothered to go find their own sources off the record. So anyway, now in all of the recording, including the Reuters episode, I'm not terribly happy about some of the language, but I guess that's the thing about these things. They got to spice it up, like it's a hidden secret that the A-Lady may cost some money. Well, like I said, I did an episode way back about, you're going to pay for the A-Lady. I don't think there's really any contention. In fact, listen to this segment from me replaying the Amazon event on our podcast and then having some commentary. But listen to this little nugget right here.
Now, today, building on these 5 areas, we're going to give you a look at a smarter and more conversational Alexa.
Yes, please.
Customers in the U.S. will get access to these new capabilities through a free preview on Echo devices that they already own, including the first Echo we shipped back in 2014.
It's pretty clear, I think, and there's probably other language further along in there, but I didn't feel like going through the whole event again. But free preview? Free preview? That's like free sample, right? That means there is going to be payment at some point, right? It's not going to be free when it's the full thing, not a preview, right? So that's, I think that's been terribly obvious from the beginning. It wasn't hidden. Everybody keeps coming back every couple of months and being like, I found a gem about this whole affair. No, you didn't. It was back there all along. So anyway, but it is interesting, the pricing that they heard, potentially like somewhere in the $5 to $10 range a month for an AI-infused Alexa. So that's kind of interesting. Now, I want to just give you some kind of context for that. And I also don't like the fact that these articles, they're like, Amazon is running behind. Amazon's trying to catch up. Oh, will Amazon ever get there? Like, I don't know where this is coming from because Siri ain't there. Google Assistant ain't there. They keep talking about Gemini being infused into the Google Assistant, but hey, it ain't there yet. Apple just had the WWDC where we did an episode 303 about some of the Siri being infused with AI intelligence and what's going on. But it isn't, even though the iOS betas and other stuff are out, I don't think even the Siri AI stuff is out yet. It's theoretically, I'm hearing the rumor mill, it's going to be pushed back if we even see it this year at all, in 2025. So, yeah, very kind of interesting. So, to be fair, Amazon was there talking about it in September of last year, okay? And then they had a beta program that I got into about 2 or 3 weeks late, and that was on December 20th. Of last year. So they've been working on this and cooking it down for quite a while. Now, and like I said, nobody else is there, so I don't know how they're more behind than anybody else, or they're in a rush. They were found flat-footed. You got to think back to September of last year. Even things like OpenAI voice conversation model, where you could do it on an app on a phone. I don't even know if it existed then. Pi and other things that we've demoed on here. Call Annie. We might have did Call Annie way back then, but not an actual physical device with an infrastructure where you can actually have it in your home and it has far field microphones. Nobody's there yet, so I don't know. It's a little frustrating sometimes to read the reporting, but the pricing model, let's go back to that, $5 to $10, I think is pretty reasonable, even if it does come out, because OpenAI and a lot of these other services, whether you buy it through Microsoft or Google, they're talking like $30 a month for their AI packages. Now, admittedly, they could be used for more than just voice assistants. They could be used inside Microsoft Word and other things and other tools, and you could really, upload PDFs and do all sorts of things. But $30 a month. So if it's $5 a month, that's kind of interesting. But like I said, we demoed a lot of the stuff over the past episodes. By all means, go back and check those things out. One of the things we talked about was hallucinations, and we talked about, Alexa, kind of the AI engine falling down a little bit on child, family safe, non-NS, material that's NSFW, all that kind of stuff. We talked about a new improved AI voice. We demoed that. We talked about some conversation techniques and technology built into the new hardware, such as I believe the Echo Show, the 8-inch model. I think it's the 3rd gen, and the Alexa. No, excuse me. Get the right name, Echo Show 5, that new one. So some basic chips that are supposed to help enable higher levels of function. So I think probably what we're going to see this coming fall with Amazon is they're probably going to announce some new hardware. Here's hoping we'll see some sort of neural processor units on board. I think that might be a stretch, but it would be really great if they can start to move some of the processing locally or use it as part of an overall distributed server networking model where maybe they can process information regionally or something like that. I don't know. Certainly Amazon has the technology and the chutzpah to make that kind of thing happen, as we've seen from Sidewalk and other things. They're very, very privacy and conscious aware, have really implemented some amazing stuff. But there's still problems we ran into, like in that beta that we did since December of 20, and I'm not in the beta anymore, right? I got bumped out or something. We demoed that. It was really great for conversations and digging up information and distilling information, crafting and creating kind of like narratives and stuff like that. But no integration with any practical pulling the levers home automation and stuff. So nobody I've seen has really, they've kind of like done some, like demo things, but they've never really, there's nothing that I've heard of in the beta works where we've seen that kind of mesh where she can figure out, you're hot, so I can turn the air conditioning up, like an awareness to connect those dots. So I think that's going to be very interesting to see this coming fall. But by all means, go back and check out our back catalog about all these different things. We've covered it all the way back to, like I said, episode 278. Got a few things a little wrong along there, but we fixed it. We fixed it, about character AI. I thought it was going to be directly integrated into the beta, and sometimes it kind of talked that way, but actually it rolled out later as a separate third-party skill, the character AI skill, and we've talked about games and music creation with other AI tools. So it really makes you think about what's going to be possible here in the future. But, would I pay for a smarter A-Lady? I think if it was $5 a month and it just made her just intuit immediately what I'm saying, and I wouldn't have to be like going back and forth, I think I'd be inclined to do that. And I recently heard on a podcast, somebody say, no, that'll never happen. That'll never happen. There's everybody else out there. No, there is nobody else out there. Like I said, this is one horse in town. There is Siri and Apple HomePod, and there is the Google Assistant. But let's face it, the Google Assistant hasn't seen new hardware forever. The Nest, the Google Nest, which is a competing product, and it just hasn't happened. And they've been slowly killing off. Google has features of that over the last 12 months, left and right. It's amazing it's even still working, that they just haven't killed it off entirely. But I think they're playing the waiting game to see what Amazon does and what Apple does and see if they hit it out of the park and if it kind of re-energizes the community. And the HomePod is a very similar, very nice hardware, beautiful sounding hardware. Feature-wise, like skills and different things that we've done over time with games and Bible apps and Jeopardy and all of that, ain't got nothing. nothing. It's practically non-existent, right? So, but as they put Siri in there, and there's some maybe potentially mapping of certain functions and features, it would be very interesting. And like I said, you can go back and look at episode 303 about Siri integration. So admittedly, in that video, it was using an iPhone to do all the demonstrations. But you could ask yourself, well, what if I was using a HomePod to talk to? Could it do the same thing? Especially if they maybe make a smarter HomePod where it doesn't have to rely on your iPhone to do most of the stuff. That could be very interesting. Well, anyway, so you've heard my pontifications now. You know how to get signed up for the free preview whenever that rolls out, or maybe you'll get enrolled in the beta program before that rolls out. And like I said, some of these things may be happening in the U.S. at a particular timetable, and then other countries at other times as well. So it's just hard to say, but that is the key phrase. Hopefully that will work for you. If you have thoughts or suggestions about a future episode, by all means, reach out to me, and you can do so at info@goodwillvalleys.com. That's old-fashioned email, and we'd love to see your email. Tell us that you love the show, it's things you'd like to see that's different, maybe something, a new topic you'd like to see us address. If you disagree with some of the points I made today, whatever the case may be, we'd love to hear your feedback. And just in the email, make sure in the subject line or something say that you're trying to reach Dave of the Echo Tips podcast or the New Vision program, and that way it will find its way to me. Now, you can also similarly do posts on Facebook or Twitter, now known as X, and in a similar vein, just say it's for Dave or the Echo Tips podcast, the New Vision program, and that way it will find its way to me as well. Well, until next time, you can turn the ears back on your Echo, get enrolled for the AI free preview. I'm David Ward for the New Vision program, and we thank you for listening.
This episode is brought to you by New Vision and Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and also made possible in part by a grant from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a non-profit organization serving Central, Southwest, and Southside Virginia. Goodwill's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and inspire communities. And we thank you for listening. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision.